Hello guys, today we will see complete installation with live example of how to install Odoo V8. Odoo is famous open source enterprise application software. Its proper setup is sometimes bit difficult for beginners. So in this video I have tried to show you almost all detail about the complete setup of Odoo system. I will install Odoo in exactly after purchase new Ubantu server on cloud so that you can see everything from startup. So basically what is inside in this presentation for you? Inside this presentation you will see the basic Odoo setup and the advanced SSL mode. I mean how to start Odoo in SSL and then redirect your IP to domain in order to access Odoo from domain name. Then we will see how to store attachments over the physical server instead of to store them inside the database. This is post database installation, but we will see later. And at last we will see some useful tips in order to maintain your Odoo system very well. So first of all, we will see Odoo V8 installation just after purchasing blank server. So here the server in which I am going to install and set up Odoo, it is totally blank. Nothing I have did after just purchasing it. And here I have marked some slide as a optional, so those settings might not be necessary if there is a need of only basic installation. Please keep into consideration this. So let us verify Ubuntu 12.04. So this is the Ubuntu 12.04 precise. It is advisable that you run following two commands after loading new server. So I will update and upgrade the system. While upgrading, we need to wait at least 1 or 2 minutes. So system is updated and upgraded. Now I have separated the complete Odoo setup into 4 parts. First is database setup, second is required package installation, third is Odoo setup, and fourth and last one is how to make Odoo as a default startup when your server gets restarted. So first we will see first step, PostgreSQL database setup. So I will install PostgreSQL database first. Then I will create a database user, Odoo, inside the Postgres. Here I am creating Odoo user as a super user. So I have to give option -s. Now I will set the password for database user. Let me go to the template one. For my conveniency, I have set up the easy password, but I will not recommend you to define such kind of easy password. Please set complex password. for database user. So now I have set the password. Let me exit from here. Exit from Postgres user 2. So first step is completed. We have installed the database and set up the database user. Let us go to next step, required package installation. And yes, one more thing I forgot is we need to add one line inside the pghba conf file for the newly added database user. So let me open that file. I will add one line over here for Odoo user. And after any changes in pghba conf file, we must need to restart PostgreSQL server in order to take effect of those changes. So let me restart. So now first step is over. Now let us move to next step, required packages installation. So here all packages I have included which are necessary prior to install Odoo server. So I will just copy them. All packages are getting installed at the moment. So let's wait for 1 minute. Okay. So required packages installation step is over now. So now we are in the Odoo setup stage. So here we have tried to show you that standard directory structure for Odoo installation. This is not necessary, but we are following this. This is a standard structure of the directory for Odoo. So there will be a folder inside OPT folder which is Odoo, and then different folders for different purpose. Odoo will contain Odoo file, backup will contain database backup file, conf will contain Odoo configuration file, log will contain Odoo log file, custom add-on folder will contain your community or your custom add-ons folder, and file store will contain the physical files which you will going to attach inside your database. So now let us move to next. I will add first system user, and I will add that user in. I will create home directory inside the OPT Odoo. So let me add new user. And let me install the Git. Git is needed in order to clone the branch of Odoo inside our local server. So I will install the Git command. Now we need to clone the branch from Odoo website. So I will go into Odoo user, and if I execute this command, then automatically I will be directly to the Odoo user's home directory, and which will be indeed our opt Odoo folder. Okay, now I am inside the Odoo user, and then let me clone the git branch of Odoo. So branch is getting cloned over local database, local server. We need to wait for 1 minute. Okay, so branch has been successfully cloned over here. So by cloning this branch, automatically one folder will be created inside opt Odoo folder, which will be the same name like Odoo. Let us verify. So here there will be one folder Odoo which will contain all necessary files and folders for Odoo. Okay, now we need to create a backup directory. So let me create a folder. I advise you to keep database backup of your live server at frequent amount of time over here, and the backup format should be the dbname underscore current date underscore current month underscore current year.sql. Now let us create the configuration file for Odoo. So for that we need to create one folder inside the opt Odoo folder. So that will be a conf. I will create a conf file inside that folder. However, the file is already available inside the GitHub branch, but that is containing the normal options. So here I have created my own. I will add that directly, and you can see the default explanation of all the default as well as advanced options in the next slide, in the slide set. So I will direct copy my own, and you can see the options too. So I will open that conf file and paste all the options. So here admin password will be the super user admin password, which is responsible for creating or dropping the database. So I will set one secure one. You can set as per your own wish. DB host is the local host. DB port is 5432 port of Postgres database. DB user, which we added earlier, and DB password, the same password we have created in earlier slide. Add-ons path will contains the three in my case. First two is of by default of OpenERP, and the last one is custom add-ons. As I said that we will use this folder in order to paste the community add-ons as well as our custom add-ons. Log file will be the log file of Odoo and the log rotate. Log rotate option, when this option is set, OpenERP will create automatic file every day inside the log folder, and data dir we will see this option at later. So conf file is created now. Now we will create a log folder in order to store log file of Odoo, and everything is inside our standard directory file structure. So I will first create the log folder, and then I will create a log file inside that folder. As I said earlier, if log rotate option is used in your configuration file, then system will rotate log file each day with date-wise name inside opt odoo log folder, which we created right now. And now let us create a custom add-ons folder. We have already added the folder path inside the add-ons path option of Odoo server conf file. Actually, it is not good to transfer all custom or community modules to Odoo's default add-on folders. That's why I have created this custom folder. We can set 2, 3 as per our wish custom add-ons folder. However, I have created right now only one. We have already set up path in Odoo server's conf file. Now I will create a file store folder for Odoo. It is advisable that you store all your files attachments to physical folder instead of saving them on database. So when there are so many files saved in database size will be too much large and that will cause problems at later. So I recommend you to set up this option exactly at the time of Odoo setup. However, if you remember that in past slide while creating the Odoo server conf file, I have set the data dir option. So by setting that option, by default all your attachment will be stored on the physical folder under the opt odoo file store folder which we created now. Separate folder will be there for each database, and under that folder your attachment will be stored over there. And please remember that all your attachment will be stored and created in encrypted mode. Another usage of data dir option is we will see it later, but for now I would like to tell you that when you install any app from apps menu, automatically module will be downloaded to file stores add-on folder. We will see it later. So as per standard directory structure, we have created all necessary folder inside the opt odoo folder. Let us verify. Backup, conf, custom add-on, file store, log, odoo. All are set up at the moment. Now let me create one important folder. Now we need to set up the WK HTML to PDF. It is required to convert all your Odoo reports from HTML to PDF. So it is good that you set up right now at the installation time. So here are few commands. I just need to copy. So the package has been downloaded. Now let me install the package. And I will move both files to user bin folder. Okay, so WK-HTML to PDF is done. We will check one report after install the demo database. Now we need to create the Odoo init file in order to start, stop, restart Odoo automatically. So I need to create one file. Inside the init.d folder. So basically this file is already available in the GitHub branch of Odoo. It will be under opt odoo debian init folder. but it will having a basic options. So here I have created my own and I will paste that, and here in next slide it is already specified, so you can just copy and paste them into your file and change if you have the different file paths. Otherwise I have added the ideal file. However, it is very much essential to understand the basic options in Odoo init file. It will have a daemon, which will be the Odoo executable file path, the name and description of the service name and service description, config, it will be contain the Odoo configuration file that we made earlier, log file which is not needed, so you can remove because we have already log file, we have added already log file option inside the Odoo configuration file. The PID file is the process ID file, and the user behalf of which OpenERP or Odoo will be started. So here in the next slide I have added the file into different parts. You just need to copy and paste them inside your file. I will do the same. So now we have created the init file for Odoo. So we can start now. Let me check whether Odoo has been started or not from the process ID. Okay, so you can see Odoo has been started. Let us verify on the browser as well. So basic thing is done. Odoo has been started on the IP address. So I will create one test database. Oh, I forgot the password, super admin password. Let me check. Again, I recommend that please use complex password for super admin. Once database is created, we will verify all commands and we will check that Odoo start, stop, restart is working well or not. So as you can see, a basic database has been created too. So let me try to stop ERP. So you can see I cannot access. Let me start again. Okay, and finally restart. So finally all commands are working very well. So Odoo setup is done. Now we will just add this command, and by executing this command our Odoo instance will be started automatically when Ubantu server will be restarted. So now we have completed all 4 steps. So Odoo is installed now. So now let us see some useful tips on next slide. First is don't forget to update GitHub branch on time to time in order to get latest update from Odoo. In order to update GitHub branch, what you just need to do is go to this folder. Here where you have cloned the Git branch, and just add this command. However, there has been no any update since we have cloned the branch before 20 minutes. So there is no any update. And then don't forget to take backup of your live database at regular interval. And if you don't want to take a manual backup, then use DB backup EPT module for automatic backup of your database. You can download from our website, and transfer community module into custom add-ons instead of direct move to Odoo standard add-on folder, because when we update the Git branch, all your custom add-ons which are in OpenERP standard add-on folder will be removed. Never set an easy password for database user. I have already specified that. Set a complex password for super admin, which is specified in configuration files admin pass PWSWD option, and make it enable. If you make not it enable, then it will be by default admin, and anyone can delete your database, delete and take backup of your database. Run your Odoo in secure SSL mode. If you don't know it, then in next slide I have shown you exclusively for you. Always follow standard directory structure for Odoo setup. We have shown the standard directory structure in previous slide, which is suggested by AnyPro. Start your server in multi-worker mode in order to make Odoo's execution fast. Set file attachment storage over physical disk instead of in database table, because of when your database usage is getting higher, file storage will be more and more. So if you continue on database, then one day your database size will be too larger and that will cause too many problems. So always use file store on physical server. And for that we have already set the data underscore dir option inside the configuration file in our previous slide. After installation of any database, please verify wk-html to PDF by at least one report. By print at least one report. Transfer your database backup to another place at some amount of time, because of sometimes accidental crash that happens, then your server will be not available anymore, and whatever backup inside the server will not available to restore. So it is good to transfer them either Dropbox or at another server as per your convenience. Backup and transfer your community modules to another place at some amount of time. Same logic will apply over here too. Clear the temp folder of your server at regular amount of time. I suggest that at least your server capacity should be 4 GB RAM, 100 GB hard disk and 8 core CPUs in order to run Odoo in healthy speed. Skip installation of unnecessary modules. Use plug and play approach in which modules shall be installed only when the feature is needed. Set proper access rights and rules, because of when you work in multi-user environment, access limitation is the key point. Set custom filter in order to prevent large amount of unnecessary data in list view. For example, when I go to leads or sale order, I will prefer to set my custom filter. So by default I can see my sale order, my task or my leads. So that will prevent a large table into a separate specified data. Community modules are not advisable to install directly on live server, because of sometimes it may crash your server. Instead of install yourself, first let them craft to another Odoo experts and then they will install instead of you. So that was the tips, and now we will try to set up Odoo in SSL mode. So for that few commands are here. Let us execute one by one. First I will install Apache 2 server. Then let me execute next command. I need to create one folder inside the SSL folder. So let me go to that folder. then execute the afterwards command in order to generate the SSL key files. Enter the passphrase as per your convenience. Let me execute the next command. So all basic command we have executed, and now we need to create a file inside of Apache's site available folder. I will open that file for editing. And in the next slide I have specified the content which we just need to paste. Here I just need to change my IP, and I recommend you to see my SlideShare profile and find this slide while installing or watching the video. So I will add my IP address and then I will paste. Okay. Now let me execute the next command. I will need to reload Apache. And then now everything is done. We just need to access our ERP from HTTPS. So let us try to do that. So as you can see, ERP started in SSL mode. Now sometimes there is a necessity of to access ERP from domain name instead of IP address. So for example, here in my case there is a domain name demo.meprotechnologies.com. So if I want to access my ERP instead of IP, then I need to make my virtual host file like in next slide. So again, I just need to copy and paste into the same file which I have created into for SSL. So here I will check the IP address, it is okay. SSL certificate file and key file, that path seems okay. Server name demo.meprotechnologies.com is fine. Okay, so let me paste again. I just need to create two files, error log and custom log. So let me create those two files. So let me again start. The site. And I will reload Apache. Okay, now let me try to access my server on domain name. So as you can see, my server is started on the HTTPS mode as well as on the domain instead of IP address. So this is the complete installation of Odoo. we have seen so far. So even if you are facing any problem, then just send us email on info@meprotechnologies.com and our technical expert will try to resolve your problem. And you can find us on some of the famous platforms as specified over here. Otherwise, you can stay tuned on our YouTube channel. So goodbye.